Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Think of the Arctic. What comes to mind? A vast, white, empty desert of ice, right? For centuries, that's what we thought. A frozen wasteland. But what if I told you that beneath that stark white cloak lies one of the most vibrant, complex, and bizarre ecosystems on Earth? Today, we're diving under the ice to explore a hidden world. A bustling metropolis powered by slime and ruled by a king whose survival hangs by a thread. The story of this hidden world begins not in the water, but within the ice itself. When seawater freezes, it doesn't form a solid block. Instead, it creates a microscopic labyrinth of channels filled with super salty, liquid brine. These tiny corridors become a protected, high-rise apartment complex for an astonishing amount of life. In the spring, when the sun returns to the Arctic, the underside of the sea ice explodes with color. It turns a slimy, brownish green. This isn't just frost. It's a veritable armada of life, a garden under the ice. The green-brown stuff is made of vast communities of single-celled algae called diatoms. They are the primary producers, the absolute foundation of the entire sympagic, or ice-associated, ecosystem. Everything, and I mean everything, from the smallest shrimp to the largest polar bear, ultimately depends on this slimy layer. A groundbreaking study in 2025 revealed something even more mind-blowing about these diatoms. Scientists always thought they were just trapped in the ice, dormant. But they discovered these algae are actively mobile. They glide through the icy corridors at temperatures as low as -15 degrees Celsius. That's 5 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the lowest temperature ever recorded for movement by a complex eukaryotic cell. They essentially skate along the ice by secreting a mucus-like polymer, allowing them to find nutrients and create biological hotspots. Alongside these powerhouse algae, bacteria and archaea also thrive in the brine, producing natural antifreeze that keeps the channels liquid and habitable. This is the engine of Arctic life. So you have this all-you-can-eat algae buffet. Who are the first diners? That would be the zooplankton. Tiny animals like copepods and amphipods, some no bigger than a grain of rice. They are the grazers of the ice. They swarm the underside of the ice, feasting on the nutrient-packed diatoms. These little critters are survival experts. During the dark winter months when the algae aren't blooming, many enter a state of diapause, a sort of deep hibernation, slowing their metabolism way down and living off the fat reserves they built up during the spring feast. Their entire life is timed to the ice. They migrate to the surface in spring, right as the algae bloom explodes, to feed and reproduce. This precise timing is critical because they are the crucial next step in transferring all that energy from the algae up the food chain. If the ice algae are the foundation, the Arctic cod is the central pillar holding the whole structure up. This small, unassuming fish, Boreogatus saida, is the primary link between the tiny zooplankton and the massive predators above. As juveniles, they live in dense schools right under the sea ice, using it for shelter while they feast on the abundant copepods and amphipods. How do they survive in water that's literally at freezing point? They have a superpower: antifreeze proteins in their blood. These amazing proteins circulate through their bodies and stop ice crystals from forming in their cells, allowing them to thrive where other fish would freeze solid. By concentrating the energy from countless zooplankton into a single, high-fat, fish-sized package, the Arctic cod becomes the most important meal ticket in the Arctic. And that brings us to the top of the food chain. First, the seals. Ringed seals, bearded seals, harp seals, and ribbon seals all depend on the ice. Ringed seals are masters of the ice. They use their strong claws to maintain a series of breathing holes in thick ice, and they carve out snow layers on top of the ice to give birth and nurse their pups, safely hidden from predators. Bearded seals also use the ice for pupping, and for a process called molting. Once a year, they haul out onto the ice for extended periods to shed their old fur and skin. This is a stressful time, and they need the ice platform to rest and allow warm blood to reach their skin for new growth. Both these seals have a diet rich in Arctic cod, making them a vital fatty link for the ultimate apex predator. Of course, I am talking about the king of the Arctic, the polar bear. A polar bear's life is almost entirely dependent on sea ice. It's their hunting platform, their highway, and their dating spot. They are masters of the ice hunt. One classic technique is still hunting, where a bear will wait motionlessly, sometimes for days, beside a seal's breathing hole, ready to ambush it the second it comes up for air. They also stalk seals resting on ice floes, their white fur providing perfect camouflage. And then there's the aquatic stalk, where a bear will swim stealthily toward an ice floe, or even dive underneath it, to surprise a seal from below. The high-fat diet of seals is what allows polar bears to build up the thick blubber they need to survive the brutal cold. For the polar bear, sea ice isn't just part of their environment, it is their entire world. But the Arctic's secrets don't stop at the surface. Let's go deeper, much deeper, into the dark, crushing abyss of the Arctic Ocean floor. Here, in complete blackness, miles beneath the ice, life thrives without any sunlight at all. How? Through chemosynthesis. Instead of photosynthesis, these ecosystems are powered by chemical reactions. Along the Gakkel Ridge, a mid-ocean ridge in the Arctic, scientists have discovered hydrothermal vents, black smokers. These are hot springs on the seafloor, spewing superheated mineral-rich water. The base of the food web here isn't algae, it's bacteria that eat chemicals like hydrogen sulfide. These microbial mats support a bizarre community of tube worms, snails, and other creatures you'd expect to see in a sci-fi movie. The Aurora hydrothermal vent system, found 4 kilometers down, is a natural lab for understanding how life can persist in extreme environments, maybe even offering clues for finding life on icy moons like Enceladus. The Arctic seafloor is also dotted with cold seeps, where methane bubbles up from sediments. These seeps also support vibrant ecosystems, with bacteria oxidizing the methane for energy, creating lush meadows of tube worms. These deep-sea oases aren't totally isolated. Carbon from this chemosynthesis gets incorporated into the wider food web, providing a steady food source even during the dark winter. It's another layer of complexity to this incredible environment. Now for the hard part. This intricate, perfectly adapted world is unraveling. The Arctic is warming at a rate 3 to 4 times faster than the rest of the planet, and the central habitat of this entire ecosystem, the sea ice, is disappearing at an alarming rate. This isn't a future problem, it's happening right now, and the consequences are cascading through the entire food web. The thinning ice and earlier spring melt disrupt the timing and size of the all-important ice algae bloom. Younger, thinner ice is a less stable platform for algae to grow on. This messes with the zooplankton. They migrate based on light cues, and with the timing of their food source changing, they can miss the buffet entirely, leading to population crashes. This, in turn, impacts the Arctic cod, who lose both their food and their icy shelter. Warmer waters are also allowing subarctic fish to move in, creating more competition. For the seals, the impacts are devastating. Unstable ice means their snow layers collapse, leaving pups vulnerable. Less ice means less space to rest and molt, forcing them to burn more precious energy. And then, there's the polar bear, the poster child for climate change, and for good reason. Less sea ice means less time to hunt. They're being forced to swim longer distances, expend more energy, and are often driven ashore. We're seeing polar bears trying to survive on land-based foods like reindeer, bird eggs, and even human garbage. But this diet is a poor substitute for the high-fat seals they need. This leads to declining body conditions, fewer cubs surviving, and a very real threat of starvation. The loss of sea ice is, for the polar bear, the loss of everything. The hidden world beneath the Arctic ice is a stunning testament to the resilience and ingenuity of life. It's a realm where skating algae, antifreeze fish, and ice-dependent predators have created a delicate balance over millennia. But this balance is now shattered. The story of the Arctic's under-ice ecosystem is a powerful and tragic, real-time example of the far-reaching consequences of a warming planet. The fate of the gliding diatoms, the Arctic cod, and the majestic polar bear are all connected, and their future is connected to ours. Protecting this hidden world isn't just about saving polar bears, it's about acknowledging the global impact of our actions and committing to addressing the root cause of this decline. The window of opportunity to save this extraordinary ecosystem is closing fast. Thanks for listening to Fun Facts Online.